Nathaniel told me never to, he still told me to read the instruction booklet carefully before I pruned. That said nothing that I didn't.
This is Ken Fatula's own way of doing stuff. Now I'll have to clean the counter.
The karate chop would have been better.
Yeah, it would have been. I would have had a broken hand, broken plate, and my wife would have been really irritated at me. Well, it's Ken Fatula again. Today we're going to talk about fish and shrimp tacos. You're going to watch me make them. Usually there's some prep work involved, but I've already taken the liberty of doing a lot of the prep work in advance. Here we've got fish. This happens to be Pacific whiting. It's got skin on one side. I've selected this particular fish because I'm going to be putting flavoring on it, and it's kind of a blank plate or whatever they call it. It doesn't have any flavor of its own, really. So I'm going to impart flavor. I also have to go and get my shrimp out because that is a paste, or I guess you don't have to call it a paste, but that's what we're going to be using on the fish itself. I need to turn on the oven, and I'm going to bump it up. Right now it's set around 400, and that's what I'm going to be doing the fish at, that particular temperature. Okay, this is going to be the raw shrimp. Now the reason I use raw shrimp is because it's the only one that makes sense. If you get steamed shrimp and you try to cook it, it can work, but I've never had success with it because once it's steamed, it seems to me like it's already taken on some kind of a barrier to absorbing any kind of flavor that you're trying to attack it with. And this is something else that's going to be going on the taco. We'll look at that later. So we got the oven turned on. I got this Pacific whiting. This particular paste, it's got chili powder, olive oil, a little chipotle, something called Old Bay seasoning, which, by the way, when I was making my first batch of this, the top of the Old Bay container opened up, and I ended up with a lot of Old Bay. So that went into the trash can. But I redid it. It's got some Old Bay in it and some dried thyme. And what you're going to see when it's over, I'm going to put cilantro on it. And that's going to be used in both of the dishes here. So it's going to be shrimp tacos and fish tacos. I'm using flour tortillas. Here's something you may not know. Corn tortillas are okay, but really they need to be fried a little bit or heated in some way with just a light coating of oil for me. Now my wife, she'll eat them anyway. And they have about one half to one third of the calories of one of these. Hey, so if your concern is that you don't want to look as rotund as I am, maybe this isn't the way to go. But in terms of flavor, flour tortillas, they have that sweetness that's baked into them because of the flour, and I think they're just amazing. And I prefer these. Although, if I'm you've seen me make tacos, and I like a hard shell. That's a corn shell. I love a hard corn shell tortilla. And they're like, I think 50 calories per shell. So it's not like, if you eat 6 tacos, that's 300 calories in shell. And there's almost no calories left over. Whatever meat and cheese you put in it, and I don't use a lot of that, I could eat 6 tacos, and I bet I'm probably not eating more than 600 calories. But anyway, I don't know why I digressed into tacos and calories. But I'm going to open these things up. I'm waiting for that oven to heat up. What we're going to be doing is I've got a sheet. This is it's called Air Bake, and I put this parchment paper on it because I want this to be fairly simple to get off, and in the event that it sticks, I don't want it sticking to aluminum. It shouldn't stick. I'm going to be putting it skin side down. And in fact, I'm going to do that now. Oh, there's some salt. The salt that's in this is actually in the form of the Old Bay seasoning, because Old Bay is primarily salt, celery seed, and I believe cayenne pepper. So it should have plenty of flavor. So I added, I think, maybe a pinch of salt to it. Let me wash my hands because I touched raw product. That olive oil is a nice vehicle for this. This, by the way, is the first time that I'm putting this on. Usually my wife is the one that makes the fish. So it may not be as good as hers. We'll see. If it is good, I'm going to have to make sure that I save some so that I can show off. So that's basically most of the effort. She's going in. I got about a 400-degree oven. I'm doing this for 9 minutes or so. The shrimp, different story. They will be, I guess you'd say, fried, heated up in the skillet. Now, I'm of two minds about this. You can cut up your shrimp, and then it's probably easier to try to insert them into this relatively small tortilla, or you can leave them whole. Most places you go to, they just leave them whole. And so, you know what, we'll do that too. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of oil and some butter. Just a little bit. I don't want to put too much in it. I'm going to heat it up. Nothing else in the pan. I may want to have more butter. I wonder. Now this is, I'm cranking this up to 6. I want it to be hot. The one thing you want to do with both scallops and shrimp, and there are ways of preparing shrimp that maintain its succulent, and it keeps it succulent, and it also maintains the general size of the shrimp. They don't shrink as much. Sadly, I don't do that too well. Let me get a couple seasonings here. I think we'll go with...
Ken, what's your opinion on restaurants that don't properly clean the shrimp?
If they don't, oh, you're talking about if they leave what they refer to as the vein in it. And you know what? I've got some there that they call the poopy tail. They popped out with me. I guess I could snip those off. If they don't clean the shrimp, and first of all, I don't get this. Oh, well, we have a whole shrimp. Why? What are you planning to do? And I know that some people, they'll just suck it out. Okay, whatever, however you want to make it. But when you clean it, there are a few things you need to pay attention to, and that is to remove that vein. And by the way, I don't eat the shell. Anybody who eats the shell, they need therapy. So that's what I think about that. Anyway, I'm coming back over here. I'm probably not going to put Chipotle on it because Old Bay has quite a bit of its own stuff. What I am going to do though, and I should have done this over here, I'm going to dry off the shrimp a little bit, because I don't want them cooking. I want them frying right up. And scallops are the same way. Cracking the coat on scallops is really hard. And a lot of times it's hard because you throw the scallop in and it's just got too much moisture in it. And as a result of that, the scallop cooks instead of searing. Because that's what you want to do with a scallop, is sear it. Usually in butter, maybe a mixture of butter and olive oil or some kind of neutral flavored oil, which I used olive. I could have used canola or corn oil. It doesn't really matter. In fact, maybe in these circumstances it would have been better to do that. But, I think it'll be fine. So Jim, yes, these have all been deveined. When I bought them, they were deveined. Occasionally, when you look at it, you realize that they split it open, but they didn't remove the vein from the shrimp. In other words, it's laying on it, and that I just found one of those right there. And I'm not sure if the vein is a part of their circulatory system, which is what a vein usually is, and I'm going to have to do this. And maybe you folks can do this and send me an email. Or is it part of their alimentary canal? In other words, their digestive system. Because I don't really want to eat what they've been eating. They eat on the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of a pool of water. Let me get some more. I want to make sure they're nice and dry. Let me see what's going on in my skillet. We're getting there. Just want to make sure they're nice and dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle this, holding on to the top so it doesn't pop open again. Sprinkle this with some Old Bay. I'll move it around a little bit. Well, I'll be cleaning that surface. Come back here. Jim, don't tape that. Yeah, you know what? It's going to be subjected to about 500 degrees. Nothing much is going to survive there. Okay, she's grilling. Now the object here is to turn these over after about 3 to 4 minutes. I sometimes get them too done and they end up really shrinking because Leonore likes things that she feels comfortable, safe with. I don't blame her. I'm the same way. I'm going to be checking the fish in just a couple seconds here. I don't think they're quite done. That will be a grand total of $12.30. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more Old Bay on them to make sure. You see how they're changing color along the edges. They were somewhat translucent. Now they're turning white along the edges and they're going to become opaque. So I'm going to turn them over one at a time. Shouldn't take much, shouldn't take long. But I would say, just look, you should be able to look at it and see that the translucency is disappearing of the. This stuff is really good. I love Old Bay. Okay. It looks like we're going to have everything done at the same time. I'm taking this off. Taking it off the heat. Excuse me. Let's go check. I've got to see if the fish is done. Yes, you can be quiet now. Now you say, well, how do you know if it's done? If it's flaky, that should be the tip-off. The only way I can know that is by putting this under it. You see how it flaked off? That's what I'm looking for. And now let me get out a fork. I made a huge mess. Let's see if this is. Fortunately, I will deal with that. Whoa. Okay. I have to go into emergency mode for a moment because I'm making a mess on my counter. Thank goodness my wife isn't here. I'm going to heat up some tortillas. Let's see, I want 4 tortillas heated up. And that's what I've got. Now there's a couple ways that you can do this. The object is to make that they're already nice and fresh and they're pliable, but it's nice to have them heated a little bit. And you can just throw them in the microwave and they'll be heated. They have special stones that they put in the bottom of these containers that have a lid on them, and you heat up the stone, and then the stone imparts heat, and it keeps the things fresh and heated. Or you can put it in the microwave, give it about 15 seconds. And they should be heated. Now, I imagine I could have had a bigger piece of fish. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the secret weapon. It's a slaw. The slaw is made, of course, with mandolin. I use that little mandolin thingy here. And what you did was take some cabbage, made very thin slices. The sauce, if you want to call it that, or the dressing, I should say. The dressing is lime juice. For this a particular amount, it would have been infinitesimal, but I made more than I should have. But about 2 cups, and not 2 cups, just shy of a cup of mayonnaise, about 1/3 of a cup of lime juice, which I got from a lime, but you can purchase the stuff. Some lime zest has been put in it, and we've got a zester, and what you're doing is you shave little particles of lime skin, and it's got oil in it, and it imparts quite a bit of flavor. It's also got mirin. I put mirin in it because it has some sweetness to it, and the
mirin?
Mirin is actually, it's Asian, I believe. Mirin is a traditional Japanese sweetened sake. Sweetened sake. Okay, is everybody reading with me? It's booze with sugar. So, but that's what the mirin, and my wife uses it quite a bit. It's really bizarre. A couple times that I bought it and they carded me because it's alcoholic. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Who drinks this? It's used as an ingredient, but I don't think anybody goes down to their local bar and says, hey, give me 2 shots of sushi with sweetening. You mean mirin? Yeah, that's it. Nobody does that. But hey, I digress. The last thing that's in it is celery seed. You say, well, Ken, what's the point of all that garbage? Oh, weed hopper. Let me explain. You see, this has got quite a bit of heat and some salt to it. But when you put this on it, it changes it. Let me take one bite. We'll see if I was successful. Oh, almost forgot. A little cilantro. You see, all of the seasoning is already on the fish. Now, I could have left the fish in there a little longer. It's not bad now. But my great concern is, well, I'm sorry if I'm talking with a full mouth. My great concern is that I'll drive all the moisture out And then the fish will be like dry. I rather like this. You will too. What this does, it imparts sweetness. You've got this kind of almost in the background, can't taste it, celery seed component, but that's what's in the Old Bay seasoning that I already put on the fish. But what's great is this is cooling, sweet cooling. Because I guarantee you, on its own, that can be rough. Oh man, this is good. So that's the first taco. Oh. Now what I've got to do for the shrimp taco, I don't use that. I could, but shrimp has a fairly interesting, I won't say delicate, it's actually can be an assertive flavor. But what I want to do is I want to enhance that flavor a little bit. I'm going to cut up some lettuce because I do want a crunch factor, something that's somewhat cooling. All right, let me put this back. Here's a tip: if you keep lettuce, don't close the bag. I think I told you that before. Because you don't want the moisture to start accumulating in the lettuce, it will rot it. Okay, so now I've got some lettuce here that's cut up. Whoa, I'm getting so excited. By the way, I don't know that this is the way you're supposed to do this. This is just the way that I do it. Is it the only way? Obviously not. And does it taste better than anybody else's? That's subjective. I would never say that. Do I like it? Oh, without a doubt. Woo! All right, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna lay this in here. A few of these. And it does have, sadly, it has some of the tail on there, which, okay, I'm going to be putting on some shredded lettuce, a little bit of, this is green onion, cilantro, and I'm going to make a mess. But what I really want, I'm going to shake this some more. What I really want is, that helped not. I don't have any tomato to go on it. So this is going to add tomato and a little bit of heat. Let me put some more cilantro on. Let's see if this lives up to my expectations. Okay. I'm going to make another one of these and I'm going to try some of that sauce on it. Oh. It's terrible that I love food this much. People think that's the only reason that I exist. That's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Listen, I've already eaten one fish taco, the equivalent of another shrimp taco. Basically, I'm going to have three shrimp tacos and a fish taco, and I am so happy. Experiment. Do what you want to do on this thing, but I'm telling you, the fish taco is not that difficult. You can see that the fish taco, it's pretty easy. Once again, the oven does all the work. You mix a couple ingredients, put it on there. I will recommend that you don't use too much salt because that is pretty salty. But fortunately, I made this slaw and it cut right through it. Anyway, here's hoping that you have bon appetit, or whoever that guy is. And we wish you all very well. Remember, subscribe, like us on Facebook or someplace, like us on YouTube. And here's looking at you. God bless. See you later.